within the same year that Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2 released, there was Five Nights at Freddy's 3. And this time there was a promise of only one animatronic. After facing off against 4 to 5 and 11, we ended up with one. Now, this is kind of a weird thing, especially in my mind, since I was actually following the FNAF series at this time. Still not playing it, but following it nonetheless. How could you have a game with one animatronic? Well, I suppose that was the point of all the hype. I mean, what could you do with one animatronic, right? It was quite a bit later when we actually got to see some of the Phantom animatronics, particularly Phantom Balloon Boy. They're an interesting concept for sure, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. The whole point of this particular game was to wrap up the FNAF series. Well, unfortunately, you're going to get to hear that a lot because the next couple of games are also to finalize the FNAF series, if you will, which is good and bad in its own right. We'll get to those in a little bit. However, this time, instead of children possessing animatronics, we have a dead body in this one. Oh yes, spoilers right away, but we're dealing with the purple guy himself, aka William Afton, aka the Killer himself. So, while I'm looking for robot parts and possibly some blueprints in this rundown amusement park. Wait, we're in an amusement park? Oh, crap. Okay, we're a couple years in the future. I'll get to that in a bit. For now, let's take on the purple guy! So let's start with that plot. And what a hell of a plot it is! You are once again a security guard, although this time, instead of being at a pizzeria, you're at an amusement attraction type museum thing. 20 years into the future after the first FNAF game, with all the horrible murders and crimes and deaths and all that stuff, I guess somebody just decided that this was a good horror attraction. Hooray! He is looking for an animatronic, and in the first night, there isn't one. Just a bunch of neat little posters and parts and whatnot. There's definitely parts here, but nothing more. The full animatronics have been discontinued, unfortunately. But after night one, he finds an animatronic, and that would be Springtrap. You get a little background story on Springtrap 2. A bunch of ghosts haunted this purple guy, and he got into the bunny suit, and unfortunately, due to moisture in the spring locks, it snaps and leaves his carcass in it. Yeah, Springtrap has a dead body in there. I'll get to more in a bit. The problem with this plot, however, is that you don't really know who the hell the purple guy is unless you've played the first game. Or, actually, the second game, really. And the problem with that is that you actually have to do some type of research. Now, I know, because I've played the game, that the purple guy is a psychopathic serial killer. And he got what he deserved, too, although he's still kind of moving around at that animatronic. Obviously, somebody's got to come after you, right? It's a horror game. But, yeah, he's the killer. Once you know that, however, the rest of the plot falls into place. Those kids were getting what they really wanted, was to end him. Good for them. Good for them. There's a bit more to the plot as well, but I'm going to get into that once again on Secrets and Side Quests. Until then, let's take a look at Springtrap and the phone dude, I guess? As well as the return of Phone Guy and maybe some phantoms? So while I may have mentioned Phone Guy, he is completely inconsequential in this entire plot. He's just kind of there to explain the spring animatronics. Alright, that's it. That's all you get from him. But what about these phantoms I was mentioning? Well, they all have somewhat particular traits. Phantom Freddy likes to sneak around in the shadows, and as soon as you look at him, He'll kill you. Foxy just kind of comes out of nowhere. Yay. And Chica likes to play video games like she has been... Wait a minute. Chica's never been associated with video games before. Well, you know, outside of actually being in a video game. Look, the Phantoms aren't all that consequential anyway. The one you really want to worry about is Springtrap, maybe the phone dude, and the guy you're playing as. Springtrap in particular has the traits of a serial killer. I mean, he is looking for children throughout the entire establishment. That's what's making the sounds. The hello, that sound like Balloon Boy. Yeah. Guess what? The purple guy's going after them. However, if your office makes enough sounds, he'll just come after you anyway. Phone dude is just kind of your boss, and that's it. Clearly, he's just trying to make a quick buck out of all of this stuff, and he doesn't really care about any of it. And then you have your character, who, after seeing FNAF 6 in action, I'll get to that eventually, hopefully, somewhat soon, I can only assume he's the co-founder of FNAF. Well, of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, more or less. And with that, that's pretty much all I can say about the characters. Yeah, that's not good. So the plot and characterization is a bit lackluster so far. How does the gameplay stack up? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. Hence the gameplay section, right? Yeah, that's where I always talk about the gameplay. You know, Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2 had a pretty set formula, and I respect highly that Five Nights at Freddy's 3 tried to do something different, to make it less repetitive. However, this is a different beast entirely. Your job as a security guard is to basically keep Springtrap away from your office. Unfortunately, and I'm going to get into this a bit later, but the entire setting is designed for Springtrap to come straight to your office. If he gets there, you die. Unless, of course, you know, the time clicks to 6 o'clock and he just happens to be really close to your office. But good luck with that. The way to do that is to distract Springtrap with children's laughter noises while, you know, you go about your day. That seems easy enough. You just keep them away from your office and bada bing bada boom. The problem is that one, there are ventilation shafts that you need to open and close to keep him from coming in, and two, well, there's actually a third problem, and two, there are issues with the building stability entirely. Again, I'm pretty sure Surfer Dude on the phone is just trying to make a quick buck. He doesn't care about your safety. Apparently, neither should you, but that's beside the point. There are times when your audio, which is what's distracting Springtrap from your office, will go out. There are times your video feed will go out. And unlike the majority of Five Nights at Freddy's games, the camera is actually incredibly important for beating the game. You need to know where Springtrap is. And if you don't, your life is on the line. And third, for some odd reason, the ventilation will just go out and the entire room will try and kill you and start huge alarms that just... it screams, "Here I am, world, come get me," and Springtrap will. And then, of course, you have the Phantom animatronics. These guys pop in and out in certain rooms on some of these. Some of them just kind of pop into your office, and there are ways to avoid each one, but things like Chica and the puppet, for some odd reason, it's hard to avoid these two. And they don't kill you. If they get into your office, it's not the end of the world by any means, except for maybe the bloody freaking pup. That's beside the point. Anyway, sorry, the puppet's a pain because it takes so long for his animation to even get by you. And then he basically, like, stops all progress. So, yeah, if Springtrap is gunning for your office and you accidentally click on the camera that has the puppet in it, which is thankfully only one room, but yeah, you might as well be dead at that point in time, especially on the later nights, because it is nearly impossible to avoid the puppet. I'm ranting and raving here. The Phantom animatronics will sometimes take out your audio. Most of the time will shut off your air vent circulation and set off that damn alarm. But for the most part, they are harmless. You can still win if you get attacked by one of these creatures if you play your cards right. It's just sometimes they can be a bit of a pain. Like Foxy. He just shows up out of nowhere, and if you don't notice him quickly enough, you will turn and face him directly, and he will mess up all your air and vent circulation. It kind of sucks. But if you go back to your cameras and flip on the cameras and ignore him, he just disappears. However, you have to notice him first, and usually when you're moving around frantically, it's hard to notice him. There are other times that Freddy attacked me because I was watching Springtrap sitting at my door for too awfully long. These kinds of things get kind of frustrating. In fact, the entire game can be labeled as random occurrences to screw you over. Oh, it's real fun then. Oh boy, is it ever. However, and I'm going to go into this more with the level design, this game is quite a bit easier than the last two. Let's talk about that for a second, shall we? So to prove that FNAF 3 is probably the easiest game in the series up to this point, let me talk about the first night. There are no animatronics. There's certainly no Phantom animatronics either. In fact, Springtrap isn't even in the establishment at this point in time. You only get to deal with him the second night. Now, normally the first night can at least kill you if you're, being dumb. This one, oh no, Springtrap's not even there. Who cares about that guy, right? So, it's only the second through fifth night that you really have to worry about Springtrap, which is 4 nights, more or less. You can literally do nothing on the first night and it's perfectly fine. So, does the game get difficult? Yeah, kind of. On my first playthrough, without me having a confident strategy, hell, half the time I didn't even know where Springtrap was, because I didn't know what he looked like in the cameras half the time, because holy crap, that sumbitch really likes to hide on camera feeds. Nonetheless, you gotta really look for him, but nonetheless, there are times that I lost Springtrap completely, and I still didn't die once until night 5. Night 5, I'm pretty sure there's a couple of times he defied the laws of physics. I lost him for 2 seconds, and he was at my office. And the worst part is, the last place I saw him was literally way the heck near the exit on the other side of the building. So, yeah, things do get progressively difficult. Phantom animatronics get more and more aggressive. Springtrap gets more and more aggressive. That being said, if you come up with a strategy and can actually find Springtrap, it's not hard to basically keep him within a certain area. You just block off the vent first and there you go. Yeah, admittedly it does get worse in the 5th night. I had a hard time with it at first, but the second time I played through for the good ending, I mean, he really didn't do much. I didn't beat the 6th night, but then again, as you guys know, I don't really like playing harder difficulties. Yes, there's a stupid little picture of Springtrap escaping from a fire or whatever, but that's beside the point. It doesn't appeal to me, so I didn't bother doing it. Not that I couldn't. Like, if all the nightmare modes or whatever that I have played so far, I'd be more confident in doing this one, that's for sure. But that's beside the point. The entire building is designed for Springtrap to basically always be heading in your direction. If you let him sit long enough and he just starts wandering the building, he's usually heading towards you. Because the entire building is structured for him to head towards you. And if he gets into one of the vents, you're already pretty much done and over with unless you can block that off really fast, which is hard to do in night 5. Trust me, I know. But yeah, you kind of know where Springtrap is heading at any given time, and if you can spot him on cameras, well, that kind of negate some of the challenge. Springtrap will hide on the cameras, just like the serial killer that he is. But outside of that, there's really nothing to worry about, with the phantom animatronics being more than just ever so slightly more than nuisances. Really, they are. They just kind of block your progress in stopping Springtrap, and that's it. That's really all you get. So, with that being said, are secrets and side quests any better? Oh boy. You wanted convoluted stuff in a Five Nights at Freddy's game, you got it here. So, unlike the first couple of games, there are actually side quests this time around. Are they any good? They're alright. They're cute little 8-bit mini games that you can play, and, you know, that's it. Unless you know how to break the game, in which case you can find children and cake and balloons. It's weird. In fact, the whole thing is incredibly odd. Let me see if I can break it down as quickly but efficiently as I possibly can. Each night when you are playing as one of the large animatronics running through the original establishment, you can find hints, things that lead you to these weird mini-games. It's hard to make sense of them. In fact, some of them are damn near impossible to make sense of without a guide. I mean, one of them has you clicking wall tiles like a phone pad. And there's not like it's numbers placed everywhere. You just gotta kinda guess. So, yeah, the hints aren't all that good. You almost need a guide just to get the good ending if that's what you are looking for in the game. But that beside the point, after you find one of these mini-games, you end up in this 8-bit world. 8-bit arcade. Cool. You're playing as the Mangle or Balloon Boy or Toy Chica. And what happens is that you're not meant to actually beat the game like normal and hit the exit. You're actually meant to either find an item that you need or break the game and find a crying child and, you know, make them happier. And the whole point of this is to relieve the spirits from, well, the animatronics, really. That's it. Golden Freddy, the puppet, kind of, because the puppet returns. Chica, Foxy, Bonnie, and Freddy. And once you do this, you can get the good ending after you defeat Springtrap on Night 5. There's also a Night 6, or Nightmare Mode, where you can basically go and defeat Springtrap, and you get a canon ending, sort of, where the establishment that you're in burns down. However, if you brighten up an image, Springtrap lived. I didn't bother with this too much. I'm already pressed for time as it is. Anyway, after all that, you get cheats, unlockables, jump scares. There's actually a nice menagerie of things you can unlock for this game, and it's really kind of cool. Even after getting the good ending, you know? But, yeah, that good ending, that's quite a hassle to get, unfortunately. Mostly just because it's so confusing. Like, even if you're reading a guide, some of it just sounds like... I can't even, like, describe it very well. It's difficult. But possible. So, yeah, it's absolutely, positively convoluted in every way. As for secrets in the establishment, other than the phantom animatronics, I've heard rumor that you can find a Phantom Golden Freddy, but that's about all I've ever found in the whole situation, so... Oh boy, let's just wrap this up, shall we? So in my professional opinion, is Five Nights at Freddy's 3 really all that great, and how does it stack up to the previous two games? Well, unfortunately, Five Nights at Freddy's 3 is an absolute mess. Unless you are a huge fan of Five Nights at Freddy's to begin with, I can't really recommend this. The gameplay is perfectly fine. The gameplay is probably the best part about the game. It's challenging and, you know, definitely a different kind of beast from the previous games. The problem is everything else is either lackluster or has problems too big to really ignore. The plot, it's there, it's a bit shallow, and you need to have some prior experience to understand it fully anyway. The characters aren't much better. Most of them are just there to be there. You have the level design, which really doesn't do very well with Springtrap just kind of jumping up on difficulty on the last possible night. And then you have the secrets and side quests, which are fine. There's plenty to do and plenty to unlock, but of course, it's so freaking hard to get that good ending. You need a guide for this kind of thing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. What can I say about the game but play it if you're a Five Nights at Freddy's fan. If you're not, I would recommend one of the first 2 games first. With that being said, guys, Five Nights at Freddy's 3 gets a 6 out of 10. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for today. If you guys like what you saw, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. There's not going to be a memory card launch for this particular review. Unfortunately, I've kind of nixed that to make this a bit more approachable, a bit more personal. But if you guys want more, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and take a look at some of the playlists that I got, because I've reviewed Mario as well. I've even dealt with Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club. And if you guys want to hear more updates or wondering when the heck I'm even doing videos, down below is links to my Twitter and Facebook account. I'd try that Twitter one first. I don't really post much on Facebook. There's also a Twitch account down below, which I'm taking a break from, but I'll be back soon. So, with that being said, guys, take care, my minions. Well, if you guys are still here, you're probably wondering if I'm still doing the roleplay type thing. Yeah, I'm still looking for treasure. Yeah, I'm still doing mercenary work. And yes, I'm still looking for robot parts and blueprints. I didn't find any here. I found plenty of parts, though. Believe it or not, before setting the place on fire and letting it burn, I cleaned out the place. So, yeah, still have all those animatronic parts. But, I do want to say one thing. I do apologize for how long this video took. It shouldn't have taken me this long, but with a new job, a new budding career possibly, as well as a few personal issues here and there, it took me a lot longer to make this video than it should have. And while my review gave it a 6 out of 10, which means that it's passable, it's fully functioning game, it's just kind of just slightly above absolutely mediocre. You know, more good than bad, but still kind of mediocre nonetheless. My personal feelings is I kind of enjoyed the game. Honestly, I love the hype up for it. I love the trailer for it, because that trailer was almost terrifying. And as a character, Springtrap has kind of grown on me, I'm not going to lie. So, yeah, with that being said, guys, take care, my minions. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.